Welcome back to the Ivory Tower Boiler Room. It's Andrew. I am so excited to let you all know that we are now in the top 40 best liberal arts podcasts list that got sent to me, and we're number three. So thank you all for listening to the podcast. And I just really appreciate that you keep spreading the word. So please make sure you follow us on social media. Instagram is Ivory Tower Boiler Room, TikTok, Dr. Andrew Rimby, and please review us on Apple, Spotify. It really, all of it helps. So I hope you just enjoy this episode. And as always, remember, there is an ad free version on our Patreon.
Hey, true crime friends. Welcome back to another episode of True Crime in Academia. I know it's been a while. I know. And it's driving me nuts too. Like I don't like this either. Um, but life has been life and that sometimes you got to take care of things and your mental health and you know, and I'm not going to promise that I'm going to do better because I feel like I do that every time and then I ghost you guys and I don't mean to. So I'm just not even going to say that. But I'm here and I'm ready to talk about this case that has been on my mind for a couple of months now since basically the opening article came out about it happening. Um, it's just one that has truly like opened my eyes to a lot of things and certain situations maybe that I wasn't aware of. And I'm definitely I'm definitely more open to learning, or not that I was ever closed off, but like now I just want to know more. So I don't know if any of you have noticed or had seen back in March the headline quadriplegic cornhole or professional cornhole player shoots person while driving car. Like that was basically the headline. I mean, just so many words, right? Like it almost felt like a Florida news headline because I could not predict the words that were coming next. And from what I even saw on the internet, like it got a huge buzz because some of the videos of him doing some of these things, like shooting someone, driving a car, it's just these things when you hear quadriplegic as someone who is not, you immediately wonder because we have not lived in a world that we can fathom how you can have all of your limbs. Like, you know what I mean? Like we just, as someone who has them, I know that that's not my brain just goes to, oh my God, I would never know what to do. Right. So, it opened up discussion and people, sharing their experiences, sharing his videos mainly, um, just about their abilities and things like that. And, I would never like misjudge someone or want to underestimate them ever because of a disability. Um, but yeah, for certain, there are a couple of things where just my brain personally went to, well, if you don't have fingers, how does that work? Like, again, I've not I've not learned enough about it at that point earlier to know like how all that works. And because of this, now I have a better understanding of that disability, and how like, capable they are and how like just incredible individuals. A lot of them are. We're going to find out a little bit more. Obviously, maybe not this particular person, but others in general. So, again, that's just something reason or the main reason why I wanted to talk about this because one was so flabbergasted by the headline, but also just completely like enjoying the new knowledge that I was getting about people with this type of disability and how they live their lives. So Yeah, so I was again, like I said, super intrigued, just had to share this, have to share this story with you guys. So, of course, we're going to take a quick break, but before we take a quick break, we have to talk about Andrew's bachelor trip that we just had. It was amazing. We had such a good time. Um I think Andrew had a really good time. He said he did. No, I believe he had a great time. And it was just it was nice, it was relaxing, a lot of walking, but you know, I definitely got my steps in. I felt great the entire time. And, you know, like I said, just very excited for Andrew and Lawrence and their upcoming wedding. And it was just great to have that opportunity to celebrate him and them and their love and, you know, enjoy all of the stuff and also go on the slingshot, which I don't know if any of you follow us on socials, you might have seen. Andrew and I went on the slingshot ride. That was awesome for sure. I mean, I'm an adrenaline junkie in that respect. You won't catch me diving out of any planes. I like things that are technically or seemingly to be more contained like that. Um, but I had not ever gone on it before, and that was my first time. So that was really exciting, and I'm glad that we got to do that together. And yeah, so that was Andrew's bachelor trip. If ever you're on socials and you come across one of our posts, make sure you comment to say congrats. Because we're very, very happy for him. All right. We are gonna take that quick break right now, and then when we get back for real, we will get into this this crazy headline of a case.
Why does anything exist? Why is there something rather than nothing? I think that's a question we all, as curious people, have asked ourselves. And let me tell you, Professor Stephen A. Simon's new book is so thought-provoking that I can't wait for you all to pick it up. He provides his experience as a professor of political science and philosophy to explore that question with such a variety of perspectives from science, religion, philosophy, and even mathematics. He helps us understand what could possibly explain the most fundamental fact of all, that anything exists? So you can get this from broadviewpress.com. The floodgates have opened with science fiction as a genre in my life because I owe this to my husband and I'm going to give him credit. He has really gotten me to think more about sci-fi, film, and literature. I have to say, Minority Report, absolutely amazing. And Alien, I mean, who doesn't love that alien coming out of that human body in the first film? So, Professor Jason Haslam's new anthology provides a lot of exploration with all different short fiction, so many sci-fi authors, over 200 years, including sci-fi that explores indigenous futurism, feminist science fiction, Afrofuturism. Again, you can get this on broadviewpress.com. And last but not least, my upcoming episode with Professor Matthew James Wachinsky explores his book, which is Original Inquiry, A Guide to Research for Undergraduates, a great toolkit for all faculty out there who are just trying to find a book that helps their students understand how to collect research sources and then, right, the hardest part, build and organize their essay with all of these sources and to make a cohesive argument. I can't recommend Original Inquiry highly enough. So again, all three books can be found on broadviewpress.com. Use the promo code Ivory Tower for 20% off.
Dayton James Weber was born on June 23rd, 1998, in La Plata, Maryland, to parents Natalie and Mike Weber. And he was one of three kids. I couldn't find anything about his siblings, not that that really matters mostly in these cases. Um, but yeah, so he was one of three. So he wasn't just an only child. That doesn't matter. We're going to cut that again. Take four, because we knew this would happen today. Dayton James Weber was born on June 23rd, 1998, in La Plata, Maryland, to parents Natalie and Mike Weber. He was one of their three kids. At 10 months old, Dayton suffered from a very serious blood infection. And because of this infection, the doctors had to amputate both arms from above the elbows and both legs from above the knees. So he became a complete quadriplegic. And because of the infection, like I said, it was so severe, like he only had a 3% chance of surviving this infection. So, the doctors obviously were doing everything that they had to do, to try and up his chances of surviving. Because of that, he spent the next 4 months in the hospital and thankfully overcame the infection. From there, he just went to continue to beat the odds. I mean, he taught himself how to write, he taught himself how to drive go-karts, motorbikes. I think at one point he also wrestled. Yeah, he wrestled. Like, that's awesome. In general, he just taught himself how to drive like a regular car. And then he also taught himself how to shoot weapons and also how to play cornhole. And let's maybe rephrase that. So let's go back to when we cut this. How he overcame the infection. And Dayton went on to continue to beat the odds. I mean, he taught himself to do things that I think many of us wouldn't have even thought were possible for someone with his disabilities. And not to just be, and I'm not trying to sound like, ableist or anything, just, this is out of pure ignorance, not even knowing much about, the day-to-day life, what people with, that are quadriplegic, what they go through. So, he taught himself how to write. He taught himself how to drive go-karts, motorbikes, and then eventually, when he was old enough, he learned how to drive a car. And then from there, he also in high school and in middle school, I believe he did wrestling. He actually finished fourth in his weight class at the age of 12. And then later on in life, he taught himself how to shoot weapons and also how to play cornhole. He also learned how to shoot firearms as well as learning how to play cornhole. Now, initially, he had just started kind of playing as, as anyone does in the backyard at their friend's house. Usually, alcoholic drinks are involved. Um, and it's a fun time. But I honestly had no idea that cornhole was such a sport and that you do become professional. So Dayton really took this love of cornhole and really took it to the next level and took it to basically almost as far as he could go. In 2020, he won the Maryland State Championship, and then the following year, he went pro. 2 years later, in 2023, he actually had a featured profile on ESPN. From there, he started a YouTube channel and started to create some inspirational content and, wanted to try and get involved in motivational speaking, and really share how his experiences and his life, all of the hardships he went through and how he could overcome them and now be in this type of position being a professional cornhole player. However, though, this is a true crime podcast, so we know that we are here for a reason, right? Sadly, Dayton's life took a drastic turn. After doing all of these things, it was pretty awesome, becoming a professional cornhole player, as I've mentioned multiple times already. Again, because I'm still just shocked that you could even be a professional at that, to be fair. So I'm sorry that I keep mentioning it. But again, everybody also has we all have our stuff, right? Um, so unfortunately, on March 22nd, 2026, earlier this year, Dayton, along with 27-year-old man named Braddock Michael Wells and two other people that were said to be friends, they were all driving around in La Plata, Maryland. And Dayton was the one that was driving.
Looking for summer reads? The Gay and Lesbian Review, a bi-monthly magazine that features arts and culture conversations about the LGBT community, has you covered. The July and August issue is all about summer getaways and artists. So, for example, there are articles about David Hockney. There's an article about the sculpture in Central Park that some of you, if you've seen Angels in America, definitely recognize, by Emma Stebbins. So I can't wait for you all to get your hands on this issue. As always, there are TV reviews, film reviews, book reviews, theater reviews. So if you just don't know where to begin with LGBTQ literature, this is a great magazine to inspire you to add more books to your to be read pile. I love the Gay and Lesbian Review, and I'm so happy because I have a promo code for you. Go to glreview.org and get the print subscription or the digital subscription and put in ITBR choice for a free issue of the magazine. I hope you all enjoy your summer reading.
Now, at some point on this driving trip that they were all taking, Dayton and Braddock start getting into an argument. Now, from basically what all of their other friends had said, the two had had a history of fighting. But this particular argument that they were having, according to the witness statements, were that because Braddock was maintaining this friendship that he had with this guy who allegedly, or at least Dayton felt allegedly, stole a firearm off of him. This argument continued to escalated. Dayton was sitting in the front seat. The other two were in the back. And at some point, Dayton pulls out one of his guns and shoots Braddock twice in the head. From there, he then turns to the passengers in the back seat and asks them for help to get rid of the body. They, of course, said no, and thankfully were able to flee the car and run in the complete opposite direction. And Dayton just drove off. The two passengers that were in the back seat were able to flag down police and tell them, what they had just witnessed and what had just happened. 2 hours later, police found Braddock's body in a yard about 10 miles away from Charlotte Hall, Maryland, when a resident had called to report having found a dead body. Dayton's car was then later found at a gas station in Charlottesville, Virginia, which was over 100 miles away from the crime scene. So he literally took off and kept going. On March 23rd, local police located Dayton at a hospital where he was seeking medical treatment for some sort of unknown medical issue, and it's unclear if it was related to the incident or if this was for something completely unrelated. Dayton was charged with first and second degree murder, as well as assault and a firearm charge. At his bail hearing, his lawyer pled that he acted in self-defense, and the judge ordered that he would be held without bail. As of April 1st, there was no plea submitted on behalf of Dayton, or Dayton did not submit, a plea. And the preliminary hearing was scheduled for May 6th. I've been looking to find updates on this. I haven't seen anything yet, but as soon as I do, I will keep you guys notified what's up. But that is it. That is the case that has been on my radar and just been on my mind these past couple months that I've been trying to talk to you all about. So I'm really excited we got to talk about this case. But yeah, just sometimes these headlines get you. And that one was definitely it for me. But yeah, so that's all I have for you guys. Like I said, as always, I'm gonna try and do my best to get an episode out shortly. And hopefully in a more quicker time frame for you all. Um, in the meantime, don't forget to go to patreon.com/Ivory Tower Boiler Room to become a subscriber. That way you can get access to this episode and all other episodes ad free. There's also a couple of old bonus episodes out there. If you want to listen to those, they're available for you also. Don't forget to follow True Crime in Academia on social media at True Crime in Academia on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. And that is it. That's all I've got. Until then, stay safe, do all of the things. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And until the next episode, I will see you all later.
Welcome to Severed, a podcast week dropping new episodes every Monday. Severed True Crime and Severed Paranormal episodes deep dive into murder, mysteries, and the otherworldly in a concise format. A 7-minute story to frame the case with thoughtful analysis and our usual banter.
We sometimes find the lighter side of darker cases. We offer 3 spin-off shows, Severed Strange Stories, Severed Haunted You, and Severed Serial Killers that highlight the unusual to lighthearted topics from the digital dumpsters of true crime, haunted universities, and the minds of madness like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer.
We are your co-hosts. I'm Harry Chambers.
And I'm Drew Hudson. Listen on all major podcast platforms, including Rogue Media Network and Radio Garden State. Follow us on Instagram at severed_podcast.
Are you a fan of classic Hollywood movies?
Are you a fan of queer cinema?
Then do we have the podcast for you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christian Garcia.
And I'm Luke Del Mar.
And we are your hosts of That Old Gay Classic Cinema, where we take a look at some of the greatest films of all time and analyze them through a queer theoretical lens.
Let's be honest. LGBTQIA+ people have been a part of Hollywood since its inception, and this podcast celebrates those artists and entertainers of yesteryear while also taking a closer look at the queer-coded characters and stories in classic Hollywood films long before queer representation entered the mainstream.
So follow us down the road of classic cinema as we give you a guide to some of the films that touched our hearts, brains, and even gave us courage to be ourselves.
You can listen to That Old Gay Classic Cinema wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
All right, listeners, we're ready for our close-up.